All right, those just tuning in, we just wrapped up our game with the Tyranids and the Custodes with the final score, Tyranids 54 to Custodes 55. A 1-point game.
Yep.
Very, very close. I'm not salty. I learned my lesson. If I'm playing fixed secondaries, I need to look at everything that score fixed secondaries because I could have scored 2 points on that. Engage on all fronts.
Yeah, if you're playing fixed secondaries, you need to remember what your secondaries are.
No, just look at every angle. Like I wasn't looking at that as an angle on turn one. I wasn't considering it. I was looking at other options for what I could score and how I could. And I was looking at the Hormagaunts that went that way.
Yeah.
But I wasn't considering the fact of like, oh, I need to just get these guys slightly over here. And by then it was too late. I mean, I could have went back and changed it, but it's like at that point, we were so far through the turn. It wasn't even like just moving into the shooting like, oh, I forgot to do this or that. It was way too far. So that sucks. Also, I never used my Shadows of the Warp.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and there was one good turn where you had only one unit on an objective that was worth 8 points, so it would have been a shot. Granted, Custody failing Battle Shock, not the most likely thing, but it's definitely, more importantly, an ability I should remember.
Yeah, and I do fail Battle Shocks.
Yes, you do, and people do, and then competitively, that would have been a bigger answer. My
6.
You failed it.
What is it? -1?
It's -1 because I have a high.
I would have failed it. That's,
wow.
Yeah.
And there's 8 points right there. All right, so final score. Just kidding. But ultimately, I've said a couple times, getting an army ready for a tournament, I still really like this build. Like, this is surprising me.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in the list you've got that's not performing well. Not being able to do what you wanted to do.
We discussed off camera a bit the gargoyles. And some of you can talk to me more about this out there on kind of the read. I've been putting him in Deep Strike. Lane is saying that what he's been seeing is that I should probably put them on the board and use them early on as primary denial.
Yeah, I mean, if you put them in Deep Strike, you already have the Biovore shooting those things out there to get you the engage and behind enemy lines, that sort of thing. They should start on the board because they move their 12. You can advance them because their guns are assault, and then after they shoot, they can move again. Is it flat 6 or is it D6?
It's for the gargoyles. It's flat 6. Flat 6 normal.
So basically, they move 18 plus D6. I think the way people usually use them is they, in your turn, move them out there because they're OC2, get them on an objective that I'm on, and just deny me primary for a turn. They'll die immediately afterwards, but you're shutting me down on primary by controlling an objective. So
yeah. So I mean, let me know in the comment section and see what it is. Maybe there's something with the read of like, okay, well, what I was saying to Lane is like, yeah, maybe I put them in Deep Strike versus artillery, just so they don't get hit too early, like guard and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you can up and down on your Raveners. You put the Lictor in Deep Strike. You've got your Spore Mines you're shooting out. I mean, you don't need to put them in Deep Strike.
Yeah, and I mean, I just put the Raveners on the table because if I go second, then I pick them up and I can do that anyways. But the Lictor, he can go in Deep Strike. He can deploy. This game, because of how a lot of your weaponry is super, super deadly at short range. I mean, granted, you're mostly just short range. Like 24 inches is pretty much your army's range. I just felt like he would be the only target and just get removed. In this, he actually got me two turns of behind enemy lines because he was able to go out there and just be stealthy Lictor.
Yeah.
Be lone op stealthy fight first Lictor that has a 0 cost for rapid ingress and also gains me a command point when he kills a character.
Yeah.
With infiltrate.
And he's 120 points, so that's fair.
Yeah. It's like what, 60? What was it?
I don't know. Your army.
60 points for
60 points for too many rules. They should be limited. You should not get that many rules.
He's only got a 4-up save.
I mean, I killed him eventually.
So yeah, those were my two big forgets on this one. Other than that, though, I'm really starting to really like this list, and I would consider this thing like actually spending the time to work on this a little more because that's it's working out well. Like Tyranids did good; he did his job. You know, there was big tough Custodes. He was able to hit and punch them right in the face. He killed your shield captain. He killed Trajan. I mean, technically, he's the one that dealt the 23 wounds to Trajan like he deserves.
Trajan is such a good guy. Why?
Trajan deserved all 23 wounds. How did you like your Custodes?
They're pretty good. I think the exact list I'm taking, I would tweak some. I just wanted to try some things out. Like I said in my Army list video, there are just a ton of options with this detachment where I think you've got great enhancements. It's a question of who do you put them on. There's a lot of good options for that. I don't think I really liked the sisters that much. I think they were 115 plus 65 for Leia, so they were like 180 points, I think. So I don't know if they were really good. I think I might do a squad of Alaris Terminators to unleash the Lions on. Maybe we cut that down to a 3-man, and then maybe I can probably squeeze in another squad of the jet bikes if I drop the sisters too. So
Jet bikes were insane. I knew they would be.
yeah, they're really good in this detachment. Once they get +1 to wound and they're twin linked with their guns, they are really good at shooting tanks. So I was happy with how they performed. The ability to move back with them with the captain is a big deal. Being able to engage.
The shield, they had that shield captain's enhancement too. That shield captain's enhancement too. That was in my head because I knew that like other situations I could hit you with the Hormagaunts, and I know you're gonna kill a bunch of them, but it's like, okay, any damage I get through is a positive. That's a situation where it's like I don't have anything left. He can just shred the whole squad by himself.
Yeah. I tried. It took a little while to kill all those Hormagaunts, especially when you brought them back. You rolled pretty hot on your reanimate rolls when you did the strat on 2 of those. You brought 5 back to one unit and 6 back to another one. It was a lot of little guys coming back. But no, like I said, the enhancements are so strong. It's up to you who you want to put them on. I know that one that gives you you can't put any of them onto. I don't think you can put any onto the Blade Champion. So he's because he would really benefit from some of these. But
look, you could advance and charge twice though, couldn't you?
Yeah, you can. Like I said,
you heard that's a strat.
Yeah. Zach, friend of the channel, used that in one of our practice games where he put the low nop on the Blade Champion by himself and then could just advance him and charge him, do some damage, and then reset his advance and charge ability. And he had low nop, so he's tough to get to. So definitely a lot of different choices to make. I think it's a really strong detachment because there's just so much. That +1 to wound with the wound rerolls that a lot of units get is super strong.
I was praying for another unit to be within 6 inches and go, yes. And that's one of the big things I noticed afterwards that we were discussing is I felt like the Unleash the Lions is more of a defensive play than an offensive play. Like with this detachment, how strong that +1 to hit, +1 to wound is, it's like you don't want to, like more times you want to keep the Terminators together. And then since you draw your cards and it's done to your command phase, it's more like, oh, I drew containment. Okay, now I'm going to unleash the Lions on the squad, send 2 of these guys into a corner and go, here's your table quarter, here's your table corner, contain and score those. Or sabotage, leave one guy behind and then rush off there. Because when they're near another one of their units, then it shuts down so much of their power. And when it's just one unit by itself, it's just so much extra damage. I mean, the +1 to hit, who cares about that? +1 to wound, that's just...
Yeah, it's pretty huge. Kyria Draxus and 4 Custodian Guards were able to shoot the Psychophage off the table. I did have to shoot twice with them, but they're much better into infantry typically, especially Kyria Draxus. But because they're on objective, because they're alone, getting +1 to wound on all their shots and re-rolling wounds because they're on the objective, I was able to shoot a monster off the table that had 7 wounds left and a 5-up feel no pain.
Right.
Like that's not something you should normally be able to do without strength 4 shooting in Kyria Draxus. So
without that, he might have lived.
Yeah. Into infantry, we always know they're good, but now we're getting the +1 to wound, and it just all adds up.
It just means you don't need as many of those anti-tank guns in those scenarios. It's like you can use some of your basic weaponry to do it.
Yeah, same thing. Like I didn't get a chance to really do it with Trajan, but his gun is 2 shots, strength 5, AP 2, 3 damage. So if he's with Custodian Guard, he can shoot twice and get the reroll. So even he could do a lot of damage to something. If that came up. So
there's one moment and one question I have to kind of go out of this with. And that was when your shield captain fired the Hurricane Bolters. So when you talk about putting another squad of bikes in there, would you consider taking one that has 3 Hurricane Bolters in there because of that +1 to wound?
I'm not sure. The thing with the Hurricane Bolters is they only have an 18-inch range. There are 3 shots and rapid fire 3, so you have to get real close for them to be effective. I think in big bike units, I would probably still take the
9 inches away.
Yeah, so rapid fire is 9 inches. So to get the 6 shots, you have to be within 9 inches. So I think I'd still rather take the salvos for the big damage because they're 24-inch range. And just having some more shooting threat into your, because I couldn't really get into a lot of the stuff because it's too far away for me to get into. So having a little more shooting threat, I think would be better. But
yeah. No, so the sisters are out. More Custodes in.
Yeah, I'm going to keep the Witch Seeker sisters because their scout move is a big deal. But I think more jet bikes is the way to go. But I don't know. I mean, Venatari
I was worried about jet bikes.
Yeah.
See why I was worried about them. I'm less concerned about the Venatari just because of, like you said, the 24-inch range. The 24-inch range is a big part because the Venatari then have to get close. And there is a situation where if one thing the Custodes can do well right now in the shooting with the 24-inch range is be able to put that target saturation in. I feel like if they get close, they're going to start to mess with some of that because they might get too close and start shutting off your +1 to hits and +1 to wounds and stuff like that. So I'm less down, but those bikes, man, those bikes are insane. Plus, the bikes are in a weird column, especially with their profile. Because once again, now they're bikes, they're mounted.
They're not vehicles, they're not infantry, and there's a lot of stuff that procs off of both of those.
Right. And that was a huge factor into this game. How many times
every time you roll a 6, you're like, sustain. I'm like, not into the jet bikes.
No, not into bikes. So that was a huge factor. I think that also that extra layer on toughness 7 or whatever, 7 wounds, it makes them that much more durable all around. So, all right. Any closing thoughts on either army?
No, I think it's a good game. I think your list is pretty good. I think I want to play around with Custodes some more. So let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you think about what stuff would be good in the Custodes lines of the Empire detachment. Because like I said, there's a lot to play with there.
Yeah, in between the two armies, I played Grey Knights. I played the Tyranids. Both of them, though, I did. Did I win with the Grey Knights? What did you play? You played the. Oh no, you beat me with the War Dogs, but I did a lot more damage than we expected.
Yeah,
into that.
Yep.
So yeah, I did put up L's with both of them, but I do like both lists, and I think just with a little more practice, I do have some points, and I was considering trying out a regular Land Raider for the las cannons in there because I literally can just swap it out perfectly. Since Interceptors dropped in points for me, thanks GW. So let me know what you think too. I'm curious on your thoughts. Tyranids, Grey Knights, or maybe something else. Right now, I'm kind of feeling both of these lists. I feel these armies. I like them. I'm enjoying them. So yeah, let us know. All right, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.